Alright, hello everyone, it's mysticjuicer back with some more Yomi action. This time we're back in the Wayback Machine to September 19th for some 19XX action. This is round 2 versus Southpaw Hare. I'm going to open with Setsuki. Not exactly sure why I opened this way. Must have been some sort of character choice issue. I think I had just come off of a loss to Southpaw Hare in another format of some kind. So I didn't like my chances with my usual options. Again, this is 19XX, so I can't pick Trock. And the other banned characters are Zane, Geiger, and Gray. So Setsuki versus Gwen. I'm going to open up with Queen, see how much damage we can get in here. Might as well do full combo, keep the remaining Queen, which is fairly well hidden because we used all of our combo points there. So no real surprises in terms of our combat choices. So feeling rather happy about the first opener here. We have a fairly good odds to hit with this next Queen because it's not certain that we would have it based on the first play. Yeah, so give it some thought and then play the second Queen. Good block on his part, gives him 6 hit points back. Goes up to 65, and now we're in a situation where we need to, we're a bit stuck. Yeah, I'm probably just going to opt to go for Shuriken Hail here. The risk of playing a 2 or a king in the opener here, where it could be undercut with a 2 or a king on Gwen's part, is just not one I'm really willing to take. So we'll just play relatively safe stuff. I'm going to do as much powering up for single ace as I can, because having a 1.0 speed, 9 damage move against a very low hit point character is very, very good. So contemplating doing something risky here and going with the 2 attack. He has opened with 2 throws. So I do need to consider a shift away from throws here. Okay, happy to see that. Sorry for the sound quality. My nose is quite stuffed up. Been fighting off a cold of some kind for a couple of weeks now. Okay, run the king into another 10. Give him some more hit points. Now we draw the counter. So yeah, so the issues with this matchup as I see it is, so as Setsuki you do have the dominant speed throws. And you do have a much better 0.0 move than Gwen does in your Queen because it can combo into much more damage. But after that, Gwen actually has a lot of good moves that occupy a difficult space for you to control as Setsuki if you don't have aces. So her king being 1.2 speed and being a very strong combo starter, and her 2 being 2.0 is also very, very powerful in a matchup where you only really need to combo each other like 3 times. So Gwen can probably kill Setsuki in basically 3 random combos. Setsuki is going to take a little bit more time. She should have, or ordinarily Setsuki benefits from being more able to win combat very regularly. And then being able to convert into relatively good combat wins. Nice silent aces there. Good stuff on his part. Yeah, so generally, right, you're winning combat more often, so it doesn't matter that your individual combat wins aren't doing a ton of damage, because in the end, so long as you're winning combat and your opponent isn't, you're probably going to take the game. Well, in this case, she has a bit of a harder time winning with throws and attacks than she does in other matchups. Anytime Setsuki has a hard time dealing with with attacks. Means that a character that can throw for a lot and also attack for a lot is going to give her a lot of trouble. So contemplating bonking a throw or dodging again. Going to go ahead and go for the dodge. Try not to walk into many 10s. Okay, we've got single A. So the decision is really between single A or block, probably with the 7, to be quite honest. Yep, so that is 18 points of healing for Southpaw Hare so far. Definitely not a great position to find ourselves in as Setsuki. Okay, so we've got 3 cards in hand. We have a known ace and 2 mystery cards from his point of view. Those powered up kings I would ordinarily be pretty happy to see, but at this point it's a little too late. Too little too late. So he could have up to 2 aces left in his hand because he hit us with the 3 ace command throw powered up once, so he should have 1 or 2. Our single ace is going to be very good at outspeeding his. Yeah, so that is all 4 10s. 24 hit points worth of healing. So he would be at 30. We would be fairly close in terms of hit points, but yeah, good 10s on his part, catching a lot of counter throw technology that I want to lay down. So 8 throw or 5 attack or block. Benefit of the 5 attack and the 8 throw are that I have the Joker as backup. Yeah, so I elected to go for the 7 because I don't know that there's all that much in my discard that's really going to change how this goes. And I don't want to be undercut by a 7. I play the 8 throw. Okay, dumping a lot of queens there. At all 4 kings, wow, in the top half of his deck. Pretty good. All 4 kings and all 4 10s. Not bad on his part. So we're going to get to see the full combo here. 3 queens in the discard now. Possibly holding on to 1. Yeah, so that's a very good good combat for us, turns out. What we've got to be worried about now are mostly the jacks, but all of the kings are gone. 3 of the 2s are gone, so our kings and 2s are going to be relatively effective. We've got a single queen to contend with, but I'm not too worried about that. Go ahead and play the queen here, get dodged. Probably face down with the 9. Yeah. Wow, okay. Yeah, miscounted the aces. So it puts me at 1 hit point. Very difficult. It's going to be very difficult to close this out, for sure. So take a look at his discard. Take a look at ours to make sure that we're evaluating. If he's evaluating us mathematically, that we're making the correct call. Yeah, goes for the 7th throw. Very nicely calculated there to close things out. 4-card hand. Very unlikely I'm going to be able to do enough damage to really matter against 54 hit points. So why not go for an otherwise risky play of playing a near dominant throw. So we'll go ahead and switch to Grave. Grave is my comfortable Gwen counterpick. The things that make Grave so particularly good is he can essentially play Queen and block almost the entire game long. Queen is just very, very good at shutting down all aggressive options from Gwen. The only thing she can really do to stop it are to block it with her 10 to try to come ahead on hit points, which you can counter, or to dodge. And typically, if you are blocking correctly enough, you're going to come out ahead on that. Okay, so he goes for the 2 attack after seeing me play a counter throw normal. He's going to get a little bit of damage here, but it's not really going to do all that much. Yeah, I didn't expect that you would get... I didn't expect that you would get knowing the opponent off of a block that lost versus whatever her move is, Relentless Strikes. But I guess that's the way it works. So we'll go ahead and show him a queen. Again, just establish that we have one. Even if we lose combat to a dodge, we still get a draw off of it, so it accelerates our searching for jokers, which is very important. It can also get us an ability to find, to allow us to get in with throw. Turns out we're just going to do the obvious thing. We're going to draw a card off it. That's fine enough. The other very nice thing about Grave in this matchup is his singleton ace becomes just a true horror for Gwen to deal with. She's got that difficult to fill speed hole where the only thing that contests moves that are 1.0 speed is her queen, and that only deals 10 damage. She has no way of recurring them, so really the only way she has of dealing with attack spam is to block a lot, power up for aces, and then put aces in faces. Okay, so not too worried about taking that combat loss. I want to try to play cards that lose to Jack as little as possible. So 2 attack is totally fine here. He's got a 13 card hand, so it's very likely he's going to go in on it. That's going to decrease the size of his hand, get a bunch of damage out of it, give us some more cards, accelerate us towards having a possibility of True Power of Storms, all of that good stuff. So we can power up these 2 9s here. We're very rarely going to throw, so long as we hold on to some 7s, I'm relatively happy with that. And now we can play single ace, we can play True Power of Storms, we can go for throws, we can go for dodges. All of this stuff is very good. Okay, very brave 7th throw on his part, knowing that I prefer to dodge into my supers and punishing accordingly. Or just thinking, oh, okay, well, you've powered up for a singleton ace, you probably don't have True Power of Storms, so the worst thing you're going to do is either play the ace raw or try to throw me, and the 7, deals with both of those pretty well. So if we play the queen here, it pretty effectively disguises the fact that we have True Power of Storms, I think. Because why not just wake up with True Power of Storms if we got it? Okay, just go for the block instead. Yeah, he's fishing for that 10. The longer he plays defensively and does not win combat, the more advantageous for us. Because his hand size can only get so large. And every turn that he doesn't accomplish something, he's paying 2 hit points. Then the decision is, do I throw because he's going to play the 10 block again and get myself 19 damage? Or do I go ahead and play an attack into the block? Okay, find a dodge. Play the incorrect ace. So that can tell him that we have True Power of Storms. Yeah. Yeah, Southpaw Hare is much more diligent about tracking that information than I am. We'll try to use that to our advantage. See if we can give a impression of something else. You know, I've got so many aces, I don't bother to track or something like that. I don't know. It's probably incorrect play on the whole. But if you can use it to your advantage in some way, definitely do. We've got 2 queens, 2 aces. That represents 44 damage. And if you take into the consideration that she loses 2 hit points a turn, you add another 8, and that's 52. So we've basically got enough damage in hand to close things out. This still establishes, I think that was also the incorrect ace. That's not the ace I powered up for. I'm pretty sure it was the ace of clubs that I powered up for. So this also establishes that we still have that ace, which can be nice. Again, dodges are not combat losses unless he combos into double ace or triple ace super, which is not card unintensive, so also pretty good. There we go. That's a nice combat win for us, for sure. Essentially, I don't have to respect his queen at all. I'm at 80 hit points, so the only thing I have to respect is dodge into triple ace, which is no longer an option, so I can safely just play queen, 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 or queen, queen, power up the force for double aces, play a bunch of aces, etc. So I should play a queen here. I have the 10 to counter a 10. Yeah, there we go. Excellent. And that might have been a good moment for him to throw me, because he knows that all 3 aces that like the known ace had finally left my hand. I'd played 2 aces before. It's very unlikely I would have the 4th. So once that's out, if I don't have a queen, now I'm risking getting blown up by like a 2 or something. So that would have been a very good spot for him to go for a throw. Okay, there we go. Dodge the king. I would, yeah, prefer to throw with the 7, to be quite honest. Yeah, there we go. Much better. I want to hold on to the 10 because it prevents or denies him the ability to potentially escape checkmates with 10 block. So long as I have 1 king in hand, I can establish that and deny him that opportunity. So dodging again here seems very good to me. I potentially get thrown for a lot of damage, but it's not really significant damage. Like, I'm still at 80. The most he can throw me for, I think, is throw 6 is 12 into aces. 28? Yeah. Most damage off a throw is 28. Okay, just play the queen. It's the safest thing I have. There we go. Close things out. Attack spam Grave for the win. Yeah, deny Gwen her ability to win combat off of attacks and throws, which Grave's moveset does very, very effectively. And she has a very difficult time winning games. So he has an opportunity to counterpick here. See what he decides to do. So again, typical approaches in this format change a lot depending on who you're comfortable playing with generally. And if you rely on a banned character like I do, then your roster has to make a lot of adjustments, which makes the format a lot of fun, I think, for a lot of people to play. I struggle in the format generally. I have a much more difficult time, I think, playing a roster that isn't anchored by Troc. But there are other characters or other players that have a roster of characters that really struggles against all of the high tier characters that are banned in the format. They get a chance to really flex what would ordinarily be a low tier muscle and do some interesting stuff. Okay, Grave versus Manelker. So I am going to take the 7th row here because my hand isn't all that great and there's really no reason to deny him the 7. He can go ahead and take whatever card he wants out of his hand. I still have 2 even blocks, 2 odd blocks. Yeah, getting rid of the king is absolutely fine. I don't particularly care. He can take the knockdown here. I generally play around the 7 only if I have anything worth playing around the 7 with. So here we've got an interesting cross-up decision. We can break up a pair, so we're probably less likely to want to break up a pair, so I should block with the 9. Yeah. But on the other hand, I've got a joker, so I can I could deny him the damage here, but it's unlikely. He might not follow up at all. And if he's going to follow up, it probably is not going to do all that much damage. Yeah, that's... okay, 20 damage, sure, but there was no black face cards in that sequence. So I don't really care about paying a little bit of hit points. I've still got the Joker. I can start worrying about 7s here, but again, the fact that he would, he's hit me with the 7 already. So what are the odds that he's going to want to play another 7? Go ahead and play an 8 block, keeping the pair for myself, establishing okay, you need to either attack into my throw that I'm going to play, or throw my block. So if he's got an 8, probably spends it here. If he's got a 7, he probably spends it here. Go ahead and play the jack just to get a bit of chip in. That is the correct jack. We're going to be a little bit careful about tracking that. I should spin the jack around just to make it easier on myself to keep track of what I have played or not. We can go for another jack here. It does risk running into a king. We got a black king in particular. That could be very, very deadly for us. Nice. Okay, so no black kings, probably. Or maybe he's got 1. Okay, show him the block that we showed him last turn. Flip around the other one. So that's 2 queens, singleton king in the discard. I'm going to go ahead and block again. Block, it says a free card. So we've got a ton of options in hand, and he is on 7 cards. We can start thinking about powering up those 9s, or we can just leave it for a little while, see if we can accumulate some aces. Because again, the longer you go without powering up for aces, the higher your odds of naturally drawing any. And we can also increase our odds of drawing into a pair or a triple. Okay, establish some more relatively low risk fireballs here. And now we can start powering up. Probably the 9s. I want to be careful about powering up too many throws. That's something that you have to be really careful about, I find, as Grave. If all your throws are gone, you have a very, very limited ability to do much of anything, to be quite honest. So unfortunately, we draw into the 3rd 9. Would have been nice to have that to power up with. Could go for a greedy throw here. I'm not sure what the normal is meant to accomplish, to be quite honest. It does establish a little bit in his mind that we potentially have True Power of Storms. If we want, yeah, okay. But we power up anyway, so we pretty much confirm that we either had it last turn and just wanted, we were just at our hand limit, or we didn't have it and now it's real. So either way, I think all 3 of our aces were powered up for naturally. Go ahead and just play the damn thing, get dodged. This is a bit unfortunate. Probably not going to dodge into much here. Yeah, dodges into an 8, so it doesn't have the 7, or is not willing to play it there. Ah, that's unfortunate. We're going to lose the ace out of our hand that we just drew. And we no longer have True Power of Storms as an option. Now that we have 2 aces in the discard, we want to make sure that when we're powering up for both of them, rather than powering them up for one at a time. Because if we power up one at a time, we're in a position where potentially we power up for one, and then he immediately banishes the second one, getting rid of both of them. But if we pick both of them up, then we get to keep those. And if we leave both of them in the discard, then his banishes are half as effective. He only gets rid of 1 ace. He has to have 2 10s and use them both on aces in order to deprive us of aces entirely. So 8 cards in hand, he can potentially hit us with a really strong king attack led kind of mix-up. But I've got the Joker, so I really shouldn't be afraid about getting undercut here. Yeah, hits me with the 2. We can try Jokering here. Yeah, okay. So this is a little bit unfortunate. I thought he would have not a massive straight to establish or to play there. I was hoping for black face cards. Luckily, though, it seems he's not going entirely for aces. In fact, he doesn't get a single ace off of that, which is very, very good. Losing the Joker and then having him go to 3 aces and start playing Deathstrike Dragon games, especially with the ability to then banish the second Joker out of our hands or our deck, would put us in a much, much worse position. So I'm actually very happy to see him go for that odd mix of cards. Okay, goes for the immediate dodge. Not going to face down. He pretty much knows I don't have the Joker. If he's got 4 aces here, he just wins. I don't know why the Jack. Could have got rid of a 9 probably there. I haven't seen any 7s yet, so 4 7s and 2 8s is probably enough throws. Could hit him with 4 5 6 straight. Although that does leave us again in a position where we haven't powered up for both aces, so we probably don't actually want to do that. Okay, get 9 thrown. That's very unfortunate. It does mean that he basically doesn't have any 8s or 7s. Yeah, combos into the Black King. Get rid of the 6 here. It's our least valuable card. Want to hold on to the counters just in case. Want to hold on to the Queen for sure. Don't want to get rid of any dodges, because if he establishes a position where he is constantly playing Queen and powering up for it, we want to have every dodge we possibly can. Now we have three 5s, so we can get our 2 aces back on this next turn. The only black face cards he has remaining, or the black face card he has remaining, is the Queen that he's shown us. So it's either a throw setup, or he's just going to play the Queen. We get the Queen. We can establish the Queen of our own. Or again, imply that we're going to either block or throw on the next turn. Should definitely consider powering up the 5s. They're really not doing much in my hand. Getting 2 aces back would be quite good. I'm hoping the 8 block means he's going to be tempted to throw, but that turns out not to be the case. Playing much safer than I expected him to be playing. Yeah, get rid of the 6. The dodge is valuable. The 5s are all valuable. Want to hold on to those for as long as possible, for sure. Puts us down to 9. He is only on 4 cards, though. So that's pretty good. He's low on throws, it seems, as he has had to establish 9 throw as an option. He's pretty much only got to hit us with one thing, though. That might put him in a position where he wants to dodge more often, might put him in a position where he wants to throw more consistently because, you know, he's got the hit points to take it. Difficult to say. I guess in the first game, he immediately went for the riskier options, trying to close the game out. This game, it seems he's going for a more defensive style of play. Go ahead and put some damage on the table while we can. 19 damage does even things up quite a lot when it comes to Manelker. Again, any face card in his hand pretty much means he can poke into our death. But getting in 38 hit points worth of damage is pretty nifty. Considering whether I want to power up, but the queens are just as good as, are actually better than aces at this point, because they will clash with his queen, which only deals 8 if it's clashed. With 2 throws in a row, is he going to play against the throws, or is he not? Is he going to stick to his game plan, thinking, there's no way you throw me 3 turns in a row? Draw another queen, which is quite nice. Having a look at his dodges, he's only got 4 dodges left. He's got 7 cards out of 27 in his hand. So we can take a bet on him not having any. Okay, so at least for now, we can, or at least that last turn, we were relatively certain he didn't have any dodges left. Picking up the Joker pretty much guarantees we're playing a queen this turn. Because there is no way we lose if we play it. Okay, good stuff. Undercut the ace. Put him at 5. Fortunately, we're in a position where we have to evaluate whether we want to power up our only throws or an ace. Okay, that does take all of the queens out of our hand and deck. Only 2 remain in the discard. We don't have the dominant throw. Take a bet on him not having a throw he's willing to play. Pretty much absolutely going to follow that up every time. Yeah, there we got the power up for the black queen. So he now has the dominant attack. But we've drawn a 7 throw. So now it's a question, do we use the martial mastery, establish what's in his hand, and try to beat him based on that? Now, he's probably going to take the Joker here. Yeah. Takes the Joker out of our hand. Okay, so we have a really interesting scene here right now. So he's got the dominant queen. He knows I don't have a Joker, and he knows I have no queens remaining. So he has the dominant attack. If he hits with it, I die. He likely has a 7 in hand as well, or any other throw. So it's a 50-50 on my part. I need to beat a throw, or I can clash with the 7 throw. But I like to go for the win. Go for the hard read, and am rewarded with the victory. So very, very close game there. Nicely played by Southpaw Hare. Really cagey stuff. Definitely thought I would have an easier time in Grave vs. Manelker than I ended up having. So it is first to 4, so we're 2-1 here. Relatively good position. We need to win 2. He needs to win 3. Switches to Midori. So this will be interesting. So generally, I think I'm pretty happy playing Grave versus Midori. I can counter his Dragon form, which means that he never has access to his Super Throw, which is very good, assuming the draws line up. So I want to try to keep that in mind. Midori is not a character who can throw into a lot of damage very early on. So I'm relatively happy blocking unless he really, really pressures me with throws. Yeah, it's an interesting matchup for sure. It's definitely, I'm going to hold on to that 10 and that king for as long as physically possible. I think I went for the 5 block. Yeah. I don't want to give him the additional card. The block means he has to chase with a throw and risk taking damage, giving me a free queen. So the block is relatively safe there. You have to do much more damage to Midori than Manelker, of course. But it's not an overwhelming amount of hit points to chew through, especially for Grave with True Power of Storms. There we go. Connect the 3. See if we can get a baited card out here. We do not. Okay. So cashing out the king, because I still have, 11 face cards that I can draw. So it's basically a 1 in 4 chance that I'll draw a face card every turn. It's early enough that he's unlikely to go into dragon form and really have much to be able to do with it. Okay, first successful block on his part. It's unfortunate. Feed him a bit of cards. Definitely want to try to minimize the amount of cards you give Midori, as it can get you into a lot of trouble. So throwing with the 9, because all your throws are interchangeable in this matchup. It really doesn't matter which ones you use. We get a nice success there. Throw into 19, pile on a bit more damage. So he's about halfway to the grave, which is good. We've taken very, very little damage. He is trying to establish a block range. Okay, hits us with queen. This is one less queen we have to worry about when he goes in dragon form. Doesn't spin it around. We take 10. That's absolutely fine. Got a nice straight here. Very unfortunate. He picks up dragon form. We could use a 7 here just to take a peek at his hand, see what we've got. I'm just going to immediately go for the throw here on the assumption that I have a queen and I'll play it if I do. Okay, we get counter thrown for 17. It's unfortunate. Fantasy Strike reference. Yeah, Midori has very good grunt sounds. Yeah, so we'll use the draw ability here. Just have a look at his hand, see what we've got to be afraid of. We do pick up a Joker, which is fantastic. We can toss the 2 because the dodge doesn't matter, and we've got a straight anyway. So he's got a queen and a jack and a single ace. He doesn't have a gold burst. He's got a single dodge. He's not going to play that. So it's pretty much block or king or queen on the next turn. So we can play our jack, which effectively shuts down everything except queen. Go for the throw instead, get lucky. Remove dragon form, and now he's in a much worse position than he was just a second ago. Pile on as much damage as we can. We don't really need the straight if we're dealing the damage. He's going to want to block because he doesn't have a ton of resources in hand. He's pretty much on block throw still. So he's either got to block for more resources because he doesn't really have much in hand, or he's got to counter throw me because I'm going to throw him. So either of those, depending on what he thinks I'm going to do. I'm at 61, so he can't really afford to play super passive. Actually, that's not. I'm going to take that back. I'm going to walk that back. There's never a wrong moment to be patient against pretty much any character, actually. Okay, yeah, so he's turtling up. He's like, okay, you want to kill me, you've got to throw me a lot. And that is a very good range to establish as a grappler, as any character. Because it means that your opponent has to play the riskiest possible option in order to win against you. They have to go in with a throw, and if you blow up their throw, that can be a lot of damage. So 12 card hand. Figure he wants to get aggressive. I don't really care if he hits me with queen or jack, so the 3 is not a bad idea here. Yeah, okay. He's doing what Midori needs to do in this position, which is, oh, okay, if my opponent is not going to throw me, and he's got a life lead, then I should hang back and put as many aces in my hand as physically possible. So I actually want to hold on to that queen until I get another face card, just so I can prevent any last minute dragon form shenanigans. So I'd like actually for me to go into a more block heavy stance. Yeah, blocking with the 10 is fine. We've got a ton of 10s. We're not going to run out and lose our counters. Definitely don't want to play the queen. Okay, there we go. We're establishing our own patience. Like, okay, if you're not going to do anything, then I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to sit around, let my hand accumulate as well, until I can power up, get some more aces online, and then really shut down your offense, put you in a position where you need to block even more, and we're potentially going for a deck out situation. Go ahead and block one more turn. He does the same. Neither of us blinking. Power up the 4s, because we don't care about 4s, we care about damage. Okay, I've got another face card, so we can play the queen now. We've got play queen or throw into ace, or just play the ace. All of those are very good. Go ahead and 10 throw him. Catch his dodge. Throw into 19 here. No face down again. With 12 cards in hand, I think you're probably better off facing, like just putting a card down, just to try to preserve as much health as possible. So we nearly have lethal off of throw. You can throw into jack for 15. Oh, no, yeah. Throw into jack is 15. Never mind. We definitely have lethal. Thought he was at 16 for some reason. We still have not really played a queen, so we have all the pressure of, you know, having queens at our disposal. Hit single chip, give him some more cards that don't really matter. He does have AA, but at this point he would need to hit with a lot of AAs in a row. And every AA he hits with means he has less opportunity to get Final Dragon Buster online. So I'm hoping the fact that I have not yet played a queen is going to mean that he's playing defensive. Looks like it is. I'm going to go for lethal here. And there we go. I didn't get Dick. Yeah, so sometimes you block a lot, you just don't have anything. Yeah, very rough. If you have very few pairs, or the pairs you get aren't ones that you can power up for, so like if you get pairs of kings, you probably don't want to power those up. If you get pairs of queens, ditto. But probably everything else. Oh yeah, and dodges. You definitely need dodges to deal with late game Grave. Especially if he's got a life lead and your only out is Final Dragon Buster. Okay, we go to Rook. Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a player counter pick. I do very badly against Rook generally. I think I have like one of the worst Geiger versus Rook records in the entire online scene. So if you see my Geiger, come for me with Rook. Free wins, my dudes. But generally, I think this is advantaged for Grave. The reason for that is his Jack is it can be very, very dominant. As Rook, you basically have to throw aggressively if you think that Grave has Jacks in the early game, because it's the only way you're getting rid of him, short of special blocking. See if we get king into king. No, goes for the 8. Get the nice block off of that. He gets normal draw, which is not always a thing, but we pick up a joker, which is going to be very handy for us. Go ahead and show him a queen. Showing the queen there is possibly a mistake. Because what is the queen, showing him the queen going to do? Potentially, he could pull some special blocks. But I think it would be a mistake to play special blocks in this situation as Rook. Potentially, it makes him go for more rock armor plays, which is good for us actually. It's not too bad. But it can make him turtle up, and we don't really want Rook turtling up. Okay, so it looks like he's gone for rock armor stuff. Just going to go ahead and show him another queen. Just establish that we've got those. With that many queens in hand, and the possibility of getting them back from the discard, we can actually just power those 3 queens up and get True Power of Storms online. That would be pretty good. We want to try to... Rook can have a lot of trouble dealing with Grave when Grave knocks him down and has True Power of Storms online. His only real defense becomes Jack as anti-cross-up defense, and that can be very awkward because Grave can also just dodge into 45 damage if you don't have the Joker. Power up 2 4s. 4s aren't doing a tremendous amount for us. We can power up 2 queens. The queens that we haven't shown him, just to get the 3rd ace. But we're not really having trouble picking up cards here, so this seems fine. Go ahead and dodge here in case he wants to go for another boot maneuver. We might be able to get a nice bluff out of him, might be able to fish a joker out. Might get a special block. Okay, goes for the 2 throw. Our 2 unfortunately loses to his. Take a bit of damage there. And I'm really thinking we just power up those queens. I don't really care about queens. Aces are better. They prevent cross-ups, or they prevent rock armor. They deal 12 damage instead of 10. They beat pretty much everything that the ace would, or that the queen would beat, except for ace-ace on rook's part. I'm gonna go ahead and block even here. Get king thrown. We're dying with a lot of damage in our hand. 50 hit points remain. Not an ideal space to be. This was a while ago, so I don't think even Snock had established his Gloria play at this point. So apologies for the non-shoutout, Snock. That's the explanation. Oh, that's right. Okay. Never mind. Inattention. So we deal ourselves 10 here, which is not ideal. We have finally played that queen that he knew we had this whole time. Got a ton of stuff to do in hand. We're just not winning combat. So I'm not too mad about where we're at. We can definitely still turn this around. We've got the Joker, so we're pretty much safe from crazy nonsense. Establish another queen. No, I think we establish an ace here. Yeah. Power up queens or nines? I think we can power up nines. We haven't spent too many throws, and again, we're not going to be throwing rook like 100,000 times. In order to win this, we're going to win off of attack reveals. Oh, that was definitely a misclick. It's definitely going for a dodge there. So the question is, if I play the aces, does he play the 5? There we go. We're going to go to try to combo into this. Perhaps respect the first face down. Yeah, there goes a Joker. Pretty happy about that. Can power up queens for another ace, or we can just discard something. Probably discard the 4 or the jack. Yeah, jack seems good. If we get another king, the reason I'm discarding the jack, if we get another king, it's a better move generally to play in neutral. Deals us slightly less damage to us if we get it reflected. Okay, there we go. Special block comes out to play. We've got the 10, so we're actually safe from reflects. So at any point, we can feel very comfortable just playing the triple aces. Get counter thrown. So Southpaw Hare definitely aware that I do not like just playing it raw. And that's that's generally true for Grave in this matchup. You don't want to play raw True Power of Storms unless you've got the 10 backup. See if we can get in with a 5 here. Potentially combo into True Power here. I'm not at risk of any death because I've got the Joker. Ooh, another throw on knockdown. That's very brave on his part. Okay, so he no longer has the Joker, or at least he's implying that he doesn't. Toss the king. It's fine. Want to hold on to the 6s because they're a pair. Still haven't done a tremendous amount of damage. We definitely need to hit with True Power of Storms. Okay, get knocked down. That could have been a good spot to counter, actually. Although not countering also does set up a potential True Power of Storm's undercut. So he's got to consider whether he wants to play a 5 block here, because he knows that I want to play the True Power of Storms to get around kind of rock armor. Especially with the sped up normals at this point. Go ahead and go for it raw. He gets the block off. It's unfortunate, but we still can power up for it again. Still got 25 cards left in the deck. He's not ahead of us in card draw, so we're not really worried about deck out here. Probably power up the queens and the 7s and the 6. Want to hold on to the 10 so that raw True Power of Storms is still safe. Okay, just hold on to it because we'd rather have the 7s. Hoping to get ace-ace here. Okay, no, another special block. The reason I was hoping to bait ace-ace is because we've only powered up for 2 aces, so if he thinks that we don't have the third one, he's only really worried about queen. He can just play ace-ace to undercut our singleton aces, which would also keep us safe from rock armor. Okay, king throw. Puts us down to 10, so any normal. So a 10 attack will do it, a 10 throw, or like any throw will do it. Yeah, if we're throwing the 7s. Don't rotate that 10. Okay, get the throw in. We have an opportunity for a cross up here. So we can spend the 7, try to see his hand, see how effective it might be. The way he gets out of this is by playing another king or by playing a jack. Okay, there we go. We get the ace-ace. We're just going to play the aces now. We've got to get this damage in. Yeah, no face down on his part. He gives it to us for free. I don't see why you wouldn't face down there, to be quite honest. Just make me think about it. We're at a stone's throw from winning this. But it is going to be tough. He is powering up consistently for aces. Got another joker, though. It's pretty good. The thing I would be thinking about as him right now is me playing a queen. If he's playing... he's just powered up for aces, so he's establishing ace-ace as a threat. If I don't have anything to challenge that, I'm going to be dodging or blocking. If I do have something to challenge that, I'm going to be playing it. So the only thing I could conceivably have would be queens, but I've already powered 3 of those up, so it's unlikely I would have it. Hence the king throw on his part. Smart plays for sure. We can play another joker here. It's pretty much a never the wrong play. Could get ace-aced here. Yeah, there we go. Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense. Again, I've got the 2 aces. He knows I don't have the third one. Why not play ace-ace? The only thing it loses to is queen or dodge. So probably should have gone for a dodge there. Nicely done on his part. So we will switch to BBB. Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. We are on set point. And I will just skip ahead after finishing this thought. But yeah, we're on set point. He's got to win 2 in a row. We've just got to win 1. BBB is very difficult for Rook to deal with. It is the meanest counter pick that Rook has for sure. So yeah, so I think we're going to stick with BBB. We'll see what the decision ends up being after the cut. Okay, so it will be BBB. And yeah, so do I think that Rook can beat BBB in a one, like a first to one? Yeah. Do I think a Rook can beat BBB twice before BBB wins once? That's a pretty hard bet. So we didn't start with a queen or a king in our hand, so we don't really want to go to range immediately. Luckily, I think just blocking as BBB is quite good. Really puts Rook in a position where he needs to throw a lot, which is not ideal, which is definitely not ideal for Rook. We're just going to sit back for as long as he will allow us to sit back until we've got something in our hands. We can potentially power up the 2s and the 8s for aces. Try to get some early game damage. Okay, yeah, nice. Establishing normal throw. Just got to do it occasionally. Especially when BBB is giving every indication that he doesn't really have anything of particular value in hand. So the only moves we really need to care about in neutral are Rook's Jack at 2.2, Rook's Queen at 2.6, and his King, and then Ace-Ace eventually. Wow, that's a very greedy 10. Don't disagree with it though. He's got a fairly large hand size. Even if we put him at range, he's going to get a chance to rock armor and deal a little bit of damage. So definitely not the worst thing he could do. We go ahead, play Singleton Ace. If he's trying to establish rock armor as a thing, we'll just shut that down. Yeah, Singleton Ace is a terror in the early game before Rook gets Ace-Ace. It just shuts everything down. If he jokers it, it's not all that great for him. He really needs double ace to be able to deal with this move. So until he establishes that he's got 2 aces, I'm just going to play it. Okay, do a little bit of chip damage. He's doing what he needs to, just hanging back and blocking. I think powering up the 8s and the 2 will happen as a response to this. Or we just poke him with a 6. Yeah. Assume that he's going to go for a king mix-up. Okay, goes for the jack instead. That's good on his part. Crushes the 6. Face down, just to prevent any additional damage. Alright, the aim of the game is just not to lose. So we don't want to die to Checkmate Buster. We can afford to get hit with Ace-Ace. Although we can't afford to get like hit with Ace-Ace and then hit with Jack into 7-8 and then hit with Queen plus and then, you know, thrown with a king and all that sort of stuff. So we've got to establish that we're going to do a little bit of blocking, but we also want to be cognizant that we need to poke just enough to not take 50 from Checkmate Buster. Get Singleton Ace back. Again, try to put pressure on him to AAS. That'll at least remove the threat of Checkmate Buster. If we can hit him with this king. We cannot. Establishing a very aggressive range here. Puts us at the magic number. So we've got to think carefully about whether we want to play something that loses to the choice make buster, just in case he's got it. And the decision I come to is no, you got to hit us with AA. Yeah, there we go. So, thank God. Thank God we don't die to that. We now have a much easier time. If I had that turn to do over again, I would power up the 2s and the 5s right there. Really, no real reason not to. Yeah, going in with a 4 or a 3 or something seems fine. Okay, we take 15. So it's looking dire, but if we ever get in, he spent so many resources, we should be in a spot to be able to close this out. Single A again. We can single A or we can 2 attack. Or 4 attack. Figure he's played enough special cards and aces that he's probably out by now. So we can go ahead and put ourselves to range. And now try to be as menacing as we humanly can. We pretty much have to go in with the king this turn. We still don't have a queen. Once we have the queen, we're going to have 2 turns of guaranteed damage, practically. Goes for the immediate 5 block to try to catch us junk shotting him. King throws also mean that we deny him the opportunity to block into some more cards, which he would need to power up for those aces. Going for the 3 here because he's already special blocked a couple of times. So I'm hoping that he doesn't have many left. This is a fine exchange. Taking 3 is totally reasonable. The 5 on knockdown is a pretty hard read on either the 3 or the queen in my hand. At this point, he should feel relatively confident that I don't have the queen. Although I haven't really, maybe that's overstating things. He can suspect that I don't have the queen. Played 2 special blocks. Yeah, here come the normal blocks. Powers up 3 7s. Getting 2 aces back. If we can continue to slow roll him here and prevent him from getting back in close or from ending range with those aces still in his hand, we should still be in a good position to win this game. He's beating us in terms of hit points, but he's rapidly getting into a state of the game where my hit points don't actually matter if he never ends range. He's going to be fairly low on resources. I think he spent something like 3 jacks. Yeah, 3 jacks, a queen, 1 king, 2 aces. Okay, so he's still got the important card, which is the king. But you have to very carefully manage as rook your use of special blocks as well, because you can put yourself into a position where you come out of range, you have no special blocks, and then BBB just continuously powers up for AA and just plays AA over and over and over again. It is the dominant attack in the matchup, and Rook does not have any dodges, so you can just put yourself in a position where you just cannot win. And BBB, because of the nature of the way his range works, where you get your face card, the first face card you play every turn at range back, is often in a position where he just has a ton of cards in the late game. So powering up continuously for AA is not all that unreasonable. Okay, we throw his burst. We're in a really good spot here. We don't have any cross-up odd attacks, which I would love to play right now, because he's got 6 cards left in his deck that beat them. I guess he's got another Joker that could beat it. Okay, there we go. Right on time. Commentator's curse. Okay, so we've got 4 aces, the true nightmare. Got jokers of our own though. Yeah, we don't need 7s. We're not going to need those 4s or 2s. We're going to leave them in our hand to see if we can accumulate any more of them. At this point, we're just settling in for the late game. Unfortunately, pick up another 7. If we pick up another jack, that would also be pretty good for us, because it'll give us an armor move that we can use to outrace basically everything except his ace-ace. Actually, it outraces his ace-ace as well. Wow. Never you mind. Okay, so I'm playing into the 5 here. I really just don't want to lose to Checkmate Buster. I'm relatively safe playing AA here, I think, because what you would expect is the player playing against Rook to just gold burst right there. 16 hit points. Go ahead and power up again. He's going to put Checkmate Buster back in the mix. Yeah, there we go. 4 aces confirmed. So 4 aces, 4 mystery cards. And I'm thinking about whether I really need the kings. The answer is nope. Any throw will do, so we really don't need the king throws. Finally pick up a queen. Again, would prefer a jack. So the decision is really, are we confident he doesn't have a 5? We don't die if he has a 5 and plays it. He's got 2 left in the deck though. So we'd rather hit with the joker. Yeah, that's too bad. Now we do have to be a little bit careful. He only has 1 5 left though. We can continue to threaten AA. And here we can play the joker to fish for that 5. If the joker hits the 5, we pretty much win. He's got to have a ton of 3s in order to prevent AA spam from just taking it. So if we want to be really, really safe, we play the joker here. Yeah. Get rid of a king. Again, it's not ideal, but the king tells me that ace-ace is probably checkmate. Well, unfortunately, well, we don't have the 9s anymore, but it doesn't really matter because we can't really play long arm because it would lose to ace-ace. So we are at AA or throw. But he's got to either block, AA, or checkmate buster us. Or king throw us. King throw would also reach. There we go. So luckily he blinks first, and AA spam takes it. Yeah. So I'm not sure what the error of thinking he made there at the end there. Possibly, yeah, I don't know. Thought that I would definitely confidently throw him or something like that. Not sure. In any case, that is 4-2. Well played on Southpaw Hare's part. Very cagey rook. Definitely nearly brought at the distance. Good stuff. So thanks everybody for watching. I'm really hoping to get over this cold soon. And until next time, enjoy yourselves some Yomi. Cheers.